How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? So today has been a crazy day. We had the Pokemon Presents presentation, and then we had the release of the Isle of Armor, and I wanted to sort of go through some of the major stuff that's happened since all of that kind of came out. There's been a lot of developments, and I thought it would be fun to do a well-edited video going through some of this really interesting information. So here's what we're going to talk about. We have data mines, specifically for the Crown Tundra, and leaks for the Crown Tundra, which we're going to kind of go through here, or mostly data mines I would call them, right? Because most of this information is somewhat known to us with just a few new additions, and I won't be showing too many images for the sake of not getting copyright striked. Second thing I want to talk about, there are hints towards what's going to happen next week, right? Next week, we're going to get another Pokemon Presents, and we were told that they were working on a new big project, right? The big project's going to be revealed next week. We're all speculating if it's going to be Let's Go Johto or if it's going to be Diamond and Pearl Remakes, but they're going to announce it, so we're just going to have to wait and see what they say. But what's really funny, though, is there's actually a leak that I'm going to cover in this video, and this leak actually was correct, and it predicted something very interesting. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about a few other things. So that's what we're doing in the video, guys. Let's get started. So first things first is the Crown Tundra data mine. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, to be honest with you guys. So if you may notice with the Crown Tundra, there has actually been data mines of the Crown Tundra because a lot of the files from Crown Tundra are left in the Isle of Armor update. So what's happened is we've gotten to learn a few new things. For example, there are certain things, like, for example, there's going to be a new event to capture Regigigas in the Crown Tundra. That's confirmed now. I'm going to be able to capture essentially Regigigas in an event, which is going to be really, really cool. Then the next thing is there are several new unknown DLC 2 events. There's going to be loads of them. There's even one called Memo Crown Report, Memo Fire Report, like different areas, as well as like different names of, like, you know, sort of Pokemon, so to say. There's another part here as well where they say the Snows of the Crown will include an event, or rather not the Snows of the Crown, rather the Crown Tundra will include an event by Keldeo and the trio of mystical swordsmen. So basically Keldeo, Cobalion, Terrakion, Virizion, or whatever they're called, yeah, they're going to basically get a full event for themselves, which is really interesting. And then there's a mission, or a mention, sorry, rather of a mission or event that's referred to as Sancho and Redenadora, which no clue what that might be. And then there's these images, and I'm not really going to show them because I think these are actual in-game images, so I'm not going to show them on screen, but I will tell you what they basically say, and I'll give you a rough translation, or, you know, I'll give you a translation of what's being said here. So the Crown Tundra will be divided into these 4 chapters. These are 4 chapters, and the images basically show these. I'll link it down below if you want to check it out on the Central Pokemon page, but I'm not going to actually show this on screen. So yeah, the Crown Tundra will be divided into these 4 chapters. A legendary tree of a legendary 3, so that's probably going to have to do with the legendary birds. The terrible titans lurking locked away. And then they also have, they came from the Ultra Beyond. So that's probably going to be Ultra Beast returning. And the final one is the Sacred Bonds of Sovereign and Steed. So that is being, you know, predicted to be the one with the, you know, Keldeo and, yeah, those Pokemon. So I'm not sure what the Titan one might be, not sure about that one. Could be Regigigas, and the first one might be the birds. So, you know, and then after that, it's gonna probably be Ultra Beasts, and the final one will, of course, be the, you know, the sword, or the sacred sword, kind of like, you know, Pokemon. So that's what it seems to be with that. So that's basically the data mine. There's really not much else to go through. There are some other things that are really not worthwhile mentioning, but that's mostly the data mine, though. So we're done with the data mine. Now let's jump over to some other stuff. So the next subject matter is about the presentation for next week. So as you may have heard, we're going to get another Pokemon Presents, basically what we had today, but another presentation next week. And this is going to be on the 24th, which is on a Wednesday, which is basically the same time frame as we had this week, which again is Wednesday as well. So next week, what are we expecting to see? Well, a lot of people are speculating, right? And the 2 biggest options are Let's Go Johto, or Diamond and Pearl Remakes. Those are the predicted options, and that's what people think we're gonna get. But here is the thing, though. There are hints towards kind of both of these options. Now, what are we talking about? Well, there are a few different things that we have here, and I'm gonna go through all of them, sort of. So, first of all, we have this old rumor that was posted, I think, back in like 2019. Yeah, actually, it was posted Tuesday, 15th October, 2019. So this was actually before Sword and Shield actually released. There was a sort of leak that confirmed Galarian Mr. Mime, as well as a new evolution for him, which of course ended up being being Mr. Rhyme, and here's what it basically said. Mrs. Mime, posted Tuesday, 15th of October 2019 at 20:45 at night, and it says, Galar Mr. Mime plus new Evo. And then it says, fossil Pokemon is made from combinations of fossils you put together. Next year's games are Sinnoh Remakes with Let's Go Catching. You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, this is crazy. Now, why is this crazy? Well, first of all, he predicted two things 100% correctly, or actually was right about two things. We did get Galarian Mr. Mime and an evolution for him, but on top of that, he also got the fossil Pokemon correct. He exactly got correct how they were gonna work. And by the way, remember, he posted this before we actually knew anything about, well, any of this, right? Before we knew any of this information. Remember, this was posted in October. We didn't know about Galarian Mr. Mime until the game leaked like a week before, it released in November. So it's impossible that, this was from any of that stuff. This guy knew this way ahead of time, and this kind of went under the radar, and most people missed it. And the funniest thing here, right, is the last thing he says. He says this is next year. We're in next year right now. We're in 2020. This is the next year from when he wrote this. Games are Sinnoh Remakes with Let's Go Catching. This is really interesting because here's the thing, right? When you think about this logically, we are all predicting that it's going to be Let's Go Johto, right? And why are we predicting Let's Go Johto? Well, mostly because of one major thing. If you watch the presentation from today, if you look behind Ishihara, there are mostly Generation 2 Pokemon behind him, or Johto Pokemon. You've got literally Ampharos, you've got Lugia, Ho-Oh, you got the Generation 3 starter final evolutions, and on top of that, in the corner at the bottom, you also have Umbreon and Espeon from Generation 2 that are standing in front of the freaking case for Let's Go Eevee. So people are predicting we're gonna get a Let's Go Johto announcement. That's what we're predicting because that's what, they might be hinting. But if this leak here, or this rumor that we're looking at on the screen, if this one is real, then this is a possibility we might get Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes, but they're in the Let's Go style. And maybe there will be a connection to Let's Go Johto, or, a Johto game in some sense there as well. Again, we don't know. That's the problem here. We don't really know what we're gonna get. And the possibility is we're gonna get, Let's Go Diamond and Pearl, but at the end of the day, they'll include maybe, something from Johto. And the reason I say this is because, remember, Johto and Generation 4 and Sinnoh, so to say, are pretty well connected because of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, right? So there's a connection between the two from there. So it wouldn't really be surprised if they included a little bit of Johto in the, Let's Go Diamond and Pearl games, if that ends up happening. Now, I preferably would want normal games and not Let's Go Catching and Let's Go systems, if I'm gonna be honest with you. I just want normal remakes. But at the end of the day, this may end up happening. Again, this is just a rumor for now until this is 100% confirmed or disfirmed, but all the other information you provided by this person was correct. Now, the next thing though that I want to point out is pretty huge actually. So I mentioned this in my previous video today, but I think it's worthwhile to bring up again because not all people watched that video. And here's the thing though. So Shota Kageyama, this was posted by Central Pokemon by the way. Shota Kageyama is a songwriter who occasionally works on the main Pokemon saga. He has basically retweeted, he has retweeted the next week's big announcement that was basically, mentioned by the Pokemon company, which is gonna happen next week, which is the Pokemon Presents, next week, not the one from this week, but the one for next week. Here's the interesting thing about Kageyama though. He worked on the soundtrack for from Heart Gold Soul Silver to Oras. Those are the remakes, by the way. He started from the first, one of the first best remakes, and he worked all the way until Oras, and at the time then he went for freelancing, but he came back for Let's Go remakes, right? So this guy has worked on the remakes, every single major remake besides Fire Red Leaf, Leaf Green, he's basically worked on them. He's been the person to do the music for them. So this could be hinting that yeah, he's back and he's retweeted this tweet because he knows what's going to be shown next week, that we're going to be seeing either Diamond and Pearl or Let's Go Johto announced. So the question really is, which one is it? There are things leaning towards Let's Go Johto, but there are things leaning against Let's Go Diamond and Pearl or just Diamond and Pearl remakes normally, right? So what are we gonna get? And a final thing I want to mention for this video is gonna be pretty interesting. So people oftentimes don't think that, and the reason I'm bringing this up by the way, is to kind of connect to the whole tweet about Kageyama, right? So people don't think that, retweets mean anything, but here's the thing. If you look at this image right here and this tweet, Junichi Masuda published this image on March the 2nd, 2019, so last year in March. He published this image where he brushes his teeth with a mobile, and on his shirt, it says smile. What did we get announced and released today? Pokemon Smile. A mobile game where you brush your teeth, and it's called Pokemon Smile. So what I'm trying to say is, take Pokemon Twitter seriously when it's from the developers or people that have ever been involved with the games. Always take their stuff with a bit of like seriousness, because it may actually be legitimate information from that, and they may actually reveal some really cool details. So that is basically all the information there, and we're gonna end it off with a small random side note. So as you guys may have been hearing, there is a little piece of information that apparently Game Freak is hiring more people, and apparently they seem to be somewhat hiring on a hiring spree right now to get more people for some new projects. Apparently they've got, a needed increase for people to work on bigger Pokemon projects. So who knows what this could mean? Maybe this is a good indication that we could see Generation 9 in not so distant future, right? Maybe in 2022 possibly we could see the next generation already dropping. Like, anything is possible. Maybe even 2021 if things go really crazy, but I think 2022 is the most logical time for another kind of like generation to probably pop up if they start increasing the speed at which they make games by having a larger studio. But yeah, that's basically a general gist of all the stuff I want to go through. So that is basically it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, then drop a like down below. Thank you so much for watching. My name has been Ruffled Rallet, and I will see you all in the next video.